y'all see a glitch? I'm sorry. Or did it go straight through?
Straight through.
Okay. It was on my end.
No,
Okay.
at the beginning it did glitch a little bit, but it like we came on and then the video came back on.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so welcome back to Unfiltered Unspoken. And as I told you, we're going to keep bringing the truths to you. Of course, we have a DC native, Bishop King, and he's gonna get into it because he has a hell of a story to tell too. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring Bishop up, and I'm gonna let him go ahead and get right on to it, into it.
First and foremost, thank you guys for inviting me on the show. I really appreciate it. Appreciate all the opportunities, and I love what y'all doing. So keep doing that. As far as me, I am Bishop King. I am a DC artist. I would say rapper, but that would be putting myself in the box. I'm actually a poet, publisher, published author. So I'm actually doing a lot of things, man. I'm about to start doing some acting and all that good stuff. I like to call myself an activist in the neighborhoods where we live at, trying to get this thing together. And other than that, man, you can catch me each and every Wednesday on Party Mode Live at partymodelive.com.
All right. So it gave us a little taste of what's going on. So moving right into it. What is your earliest experience of trauma that you can remember? That kind of set the precedent for what was to come.
You know what's crazy? It was 2 years old. A lot of people probably can't even remember back to when they was 5, but I can remember 2 years old, and I can remember the events real vividly. So 2 years old. I actually watched my father get shot in front of me by the police.
Jesus, trauma is one of them things that it's so powerful. It can either implant or erase your memory in general. So I'm sure that was traumatic. So what was the lead up of that? How were you in a situation where you were there around that?
All right, so the situation was pretty much my father was on the run for a few months from the FBI, from the police department. So my mom's house was under surveillance. We come from Montana Terrace at that time frame, Northeast DC. They were really known for having card games like spades and all that type of stuff. So my mom would throw card parties. So by the neighborhood where the building we lived in was under surveillance. Pops stopped by because he was on the run in another state for about 2 months at this time. So when he did arrive, someone actually spilled the beans on that he was on the premises, and they came directly to my mom's house. And the direction we were given, it was me, some other kids from the parents that was there, and my sisters. I got 2 sisters, an older sister and a little sister. My younger sister was about 10 months maybe at the time. And we were directed to go get in the bathroom, shut the door. At this time, we had a dresser in the bathroom. They put the dresser in front of the door. We were told to lay in the tub. Somebody phoned up and let them know what was going down. So by the time it all kicked off, we kids, so we don't really listen to the rules and what they was telling us to do. So one of the neighborhood kids actually opened the door, and we all just kind of stuck our heads out and walked out. And when we walked out into it was, was terrible.
Wow.
So we were actually on the 5th floor. And
that's deep.
We were on the 5th floor, and when they came in, at 2 years old, you can't really process what's going on. So as I'm looking back on a lot of things that took place that night, it was a lot of criminal activity going on. It was a lot of bad parenting going on. It was a lot of racism going on behalf of the police. So it's been around for a long time. I can remember things that they were saying and stuff like that. But my father actually tried to jump out the window because he wasn't trying to go back. And rather than, he was presumed to be a cop killer. So rather than him go back for that or afraid of what they was going to do to him, he tried to jump out the window, and then that's when they shot him. He still managed to jump out the window, but of course he was caught after that. So.
Dang.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Dang.
That's deep.
So after that, yeah. How were your reactions at 2? I can only that That's okay. So let's go. What's next? What's next
Oh
after that?
man,
The traumas, because I can only imagine two. Like you, I mean, you
it's
can see a behavioral shift, but that's just probably you being a bad little kid, right? That's what you presume to,
well,
right?
it was more so not even a behavior shift. It was just a more so like my father gone. Whatever resentment my mom started to build up over the months and years that came along after that, because he was gone and he was the breadwinner and he was so many other things, and kind of just left her, so to speak. Now, of course, it wasn't voluntary, but your actions is the same as if you know what I mean. You left, so you did what you did, and the consequences were you had to leave your family. And I took the blunt end of that because I looked like my father. I was the only boy in the house, and it was just hell to pay. So it wasn't really like a behavioral change for myself. It was just more so I noticed how my mom treated me, and I noticed how everybody around me treated me.
Now, did sometimes you get different results in regards to siblings. Some siblings, they stick with you, they understand what's going on, or they kind of fall in line. How did your sisters kind of work into that?
In the beginning, it was more so like when I would say under the ages of 12, it was more so stick together. But once my older sister started to get older, her and my mom had their own issues. And my mom had her own issue with her father. So it was like if she had an issue with your father, it was curtains for you. But they had their own issue, and I'm sure women, had their issues with their daughters and things like that. I mean, I can't experience that myself, but I can watch it and understand it. But they had their own issues, so it was more so she was in it for herself. She was trying to survive too. She was trying to get out. My younger sister, um, I mean, I want to say in the beginning she stuck by me. She stuck by me, but then because she was the baby, it was more so like, what I mean, why I'm gonna stick by you when I get everything I want? Like at this point, you kind of messing it up for me. And then towards the teenage years came, it's like they became enemies to me.
And what's the relationship
So,
like now?
My older sister at this point, once I reached college, her and her husband actually paid for a few semesters for me. Like that was the turning point of our relationship. As far as my younger sister, you couldn't pay me to speak to her right now.
mm. What are some of the traumas that you went through with your mother, showing favoritism to your sister, and because you look
Oh
like your
man.
dad, you're being mistreated now? I guess.
So I mean, my mom, she's a verbal abuser. She's smaller, like small. My mom probably is about 5'3". I'm 6'2" and a half. So I mean, when I was younger, maybe before I started passing her in height, she would physically abuse me just because that's my father pretty much. And she'll let you know why she doing it. You look like your father, you ain't gonna be shit, you ain't shit, fuck you, all that to my face. Um, my mom was a verbal abuser as well, and she was I want to say like a serious manipulator, and not with me or my sisters, but with the rest of the family or her friends. Like when they come over, she's super mom. When they leave, she's the devil again. To this day, my father still call her the devil. Um, when I mean, she from telling me I ain't gonna be shit to I'm going to jail like my dad to just she don't owe me shit is and I mean I'm not saying it like just to say she don't owe me shit. Them the words she used as a kid coming up. When I was 10 years old, my mom started telling me to my face like "fuck you, you ain't shit to me." So for the person who you feel like, I mean, out of anybody in this world is supposed to love you, supposed to treat you a certain way, supposed to show you the ropes, is your mom. Even if you have a dad, you can ask any kid in the world if they raised with their mom and their dad, they have a sensitive spot more for their mom. They might love the hell out their dad, but it's just something about moms. You just can't, you know what I mean? It's that bond. And I didn't have it. And I tried so hard to have it. And no matter what I did, she would always shoot me down. So it was crazy.
Now, how did that affect you in your teenage years? How did that manifest itself?
Um, I turned to the outside. I turned to the streets. Like we lived my mom. So my mom became an addict, a drug addict, Then she became an alcoholic. And at this point, I'm just realizing it's just my mom. And I'm trying my hardest to get her off of that stuff, trying to get her to cut back on drinking. I'm noticing when she's not drinking or drugging, she's a whole different person, but a whole different person to everybody else, and still that same evil person towards me. So I stopped coming home at 14. I'm coming in the house at 3 in the morning because I know my mom's asleep. I'm coming in the house at 3 in the morning because my little sister probably sleep, and my older sister, she done moved out by this time. I'm 14. My sister, she's 5 years older than me, and my younger sister 2 years younger than me. So 19, she moved out. 14, I'm still there. Now I'm the oldest. It's like I'm really gonna take the most of it, not just because I'm his son or I'm the dude, but that's just how she rolls.
And let me see how I want to
So,
say this.
you went
Oh,
through,
I'm sorry, Demetri. I'm not trying to cut you off.
it's fine. You know, shoot you when you get into the questions, it's like you want to ask that is on your mind because it just it's like I gotta ask you.
Yes.
I just
But
want to know really quick. There was
go ahead.
what was it like growing up in the household?
You fading in and out.
Like what trauma you went through some trauma. I said, what was it like growing up in the household? You went through some traumas, right? Like from the drug abuse piece of it.
Yeah, from the drug, my mom had some friends in the neighborhood, and literally, I wasn't allowed to go outside. I mean, my little sister's 2 years younger than me, and she can do whatever she wants to. I couldn't go outside, and at this time frame where I couldn't go outside, it probably wasn't no reason. It was just a period of time. Hey, I don't feel like, what I'm saying, you going outside, whatever the case may be. My mom would literally, her and her friends would sit in front of me. They would build crack pipes, and they would smoke crack right in front of me. So as a kid, I was I was always showing myself. I was always for myself. When I say for myself, I can speak for myself. I act by myself. I don't have to follow nobody. I know what's right. I know what's wrong, and I'm gonna speak on it. And it wasn't more so me disrespecting grown folks, but I knew what they was doing and what they was doing in front of me. So that's two different strikes right there already. So I would speak up on it, but then that would lead to me, your son is out of order or your son is disrespectful. Now she got to prove to her friends that she got me in check. Knowing I would never disrespect her. I would never swing back on her. I wanted to. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I have it in me. And as we got older, though, my sisters was the ones in turn who started to swing back and do stuff like that. And I was the one who was breaking it up. And I was just always told by my father, if you put your hands on my mother, I should send you to the grave. So even with all of the stuff she did to me, I still wanted to protect her. You know what I mean?
Probably hoping she would see that and
Oh,
change a little bit, have some appreciation for
man,
you,
I'll
and
sit
then
her down for hours and talk to her, and she either blame her childhood or blame me for it. So I thought I got older enough to where, I can call my own shots. I was calling my own shots, but unfortunately, it was for the wrong reasons. Like I said, I turned to the outside, and turning to the outside is now I'm doing things as a kid that a man should be doing, and the kid don't have no business doing, and I was doing it.
now did that affect school as well, or was that kind of unaffected?
Oh, actually, no. I was always an honor roll student. I was in advanced classes, advanced science, advanced math, all that good stuff. Don't ask me how. I don't know. I don't know. I never missed a day of school though. Now I might have when I got in 12th grade though. I ain't gonna lie. I left school every day early. I didn't have a half a day schedule. I don't even know how I graduated, but I did.
Same. Same.
I
Senior year was just
left every
It's
day.
good. It's good that you stuck with school, though. It's good you stuck with school, and you
yes.
pushed it through. So
Yeah, I
that's
played basketball, and the only way I could stay on the team is if I had a certain grade point average. So that was my outlet at the time, basketball. So
At least you had something. Now,
hmm
were the coaches really too much? Like, were they knowledgeable about your home life? Were they
So
compensating or?
I left middle school. I had that was the man coach that I had. I played AAU, and we had a female owner of the team and a female coach. And right away, they sensed something was off. Like they knew, you know what I mean? They had kids of their own. Some of them had kids that were grown already who had their own kids, and they just knew. And I don't know how they knew, but they knew. And once I've actually opened up and spoke to them, it was a big difference. They started to actually look out for me a little more. It
Hmm.
became more than just a basketball situation. It became like a family that I never had.
So they became your community for you, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty much.
So let's go into how it affected you as a youth going into an adult. Can you tell us some of the things that you went through or that you turned to going through the traumas? Because I'm pretty sure these traumas caused you to do certain things as you got older.
It caused me to be a manipulator like my mother because I tried to manipulate her, like reverse psychology use on her, and I got so good at it, I started doing it to everybody. I'm and then I look back and say I wasn't that damn good because I couldn't get it to work on her. So you know what I mean. But I would take what she was doing when she wanted to. For example, my mom get a lump sum of money, and instead of doing what she's supposed to do, she'd make an excuse to the reason why she shouldn't. Like let's say she filed taxes and we gotta go school shopping, right? As soon as the money is in her hand, she'd come in the house and for no reason just say, "Why the fuck you ain't do this? What the fuck? You don't deserve nothing. You ain't getting shit." And she'd walk out for no reason. I mean, we can just be in there watching TV or anything, laughing, or if we laugh too loud, we too loud and we messing up her concentration to sleep. Like anything, just to say you don't deserve shit from me, so she can go smoke the money up or use it for however she want to use it. Um, I mean, I don't know. She wasn't using it for the bills. I tell you that because we didn't. I didn't went to 13 schools. I didn't lived in probably 15, 16 different neighborhoods. I mean, I've been all around every part of DC except Southwest.
So no stability. It seemed like you just always
Nah,
on unstable ground.
for every grade, I was at a different school.
Mm.
Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, different school.
Wow. So you went through evictions, I guess, as well.
Oh man, everywhere we went, we was getting evicted. Either from the neighborhood or the family. We'd stay with family. But most of the family we stayed with was crackhead families as well. So it was more so of my mom going to live with one of her siblings, and the reason they going because of the crack, pretty much. Not to make sure we good, but to make sure she good.
So in the midst of that, what were your? Did you have like hope at that time? Did you have dreams?
I
What did
always
you
had
want to
hope.
do? Like, what were you thinking about at that time? Like, was it just a day at a time, or were
No,
you
it was
dreaming?
it was as the only boy, and I felt like I had to protect everybody. And then I still got my dad. I still got my dad in my ear too. Like, give your mother a pass. That's your mother. Respect women. Respect this. Respect that. And whole time he knew what I was going through, but he's in jail and ain't nothing he can do about it. But he still refused to bash her. Right. Um, I always just had hope that I can change her. My mother was the first person that made me realize that you can't change other people. So I learned that from her. Everything I told her she taught me, it was by accident. She taught me how to survive by accident because I didn't have a mom and my dad was locked up, so I didn't have a dad. At 14, I had to feed myself, so I had to go outside, get some money. I had to get the money the best way I can. I don't like stealing and I don't like robbing people or nothing like that. So I sold drugs. I sold drugs because my whole family sold drugs or used drugs. So I already knew where to get it and how to get it.
So you were a victim to your surroundings, pretty much. It's like it trapped you.
Yeah, but then I became a victim to myself.
Hmm.
I trapped myself. If my mother don't love me, why should anybody else? So now I'm gonna act that way. I don't give a fuck. I became homicidal. I became suicidal. Like, and I say I became suicidal because I was thinking it. I would never, to myself, I would never do it. I'm actually, that's the only thing I'm afraid of is dying. So I would never do it. But where I came from at the time in Southeast DC was somebody dying every day. I went to Eastern High School. And when I was in high school, I used to write my mom letters because she didn't know how to communicate. So if I started communicating with her and I hit a nerve, that's the end of the conversation. And she might disown me for the next 2 months or something like that. I can't afford that at this time. So I used to start writing letters to her. Um, People would be dying at my school it was like a war zone. So people were dying every day or every other day. And we might go a week with no deaths. And this one particular time, I wrote a letter to mom explaining to her I would rather that be me dead on the street by the school than some other dude who probably didn't deserve it. I don't deserve it either, but I'd rather be dead than being here with you.
Dang, it was that bad.
Man, it's probably the worst thing I can do is write her that letter though, because it got worse after that. And I ain't think it can get no worse.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You went through some other traumas because you've been shot before too, right?
Yeah. And that was set up by my sister, my younger sister.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So just to give you a brief background story on it, I left my mom's house. I went to college. My mother put me out when I went to college. My little sister moved back home because she had moved out. I was the last one to leave because, I mean, I just thought I could change my mother. I just knew if I stayed there, she stopped doing drugs. She'd stop drinking so much, whatever the case may be. But then I started to live my own life and I could not babysit her. I had to do this and I had to do that. And then I had a child of my own. So I left, went to college. And when I went to college, I didn't know this was going on. My mom was bragging to everybody. Her son is in college. Her son is this. And he's the great. I was probably at the time, out of my grandmother's 6 or 7 grandsons, I was the only one doing something positive. Now, I was still selling every drug you could think of at the time, but I was also in college because I had to pay for it. I went to college. My mom was supposed to help me. She didn't. She put me out, actually told me I needed to choose between going to school and getting a job and help pay her bills. So I chose college. I went and I knew I was going away, so I stayed on campus. But me being a victim to myself, I just started selling drugs on campus and stopped going to class. And I stopped paying tuition and just started living with people up there because I knew if I go home, I had nowhere to go. I wasn't gonna sleep outside. Now I never made this much money in my life. So I'm making enough money to where I can pay somebody to sleep in their dorm. And if they get caught, they get kicked out too. So I gotta pay enough so that the risk. I mean, we 18, 19 years old. They don't know the risk like I know the risk. So I probably get them $100 and they satisfied for a good month or two. You know what I mean? So while my mom is bragging about all of this stuff, she's bragging about the bad stuff, about how much money her son makes and doing this and doing that. And it's driving my little sister crazy because she grew up as the good seed. Like she grew up as the spoiled one, right? So I get kicked out of college because of a gang fight that didn't have nothing to do with me, but my homie was fighting. So if you're going to fight, I'm fighting. We all get kicked out. I go back home and mom's still bragging. The first incident was she tried to kill me herself. So I come home and she tried to stab me while I was laying on the couch watching TV. My little sister and my mom about the same size, so I can manhandle her a little bit, but she still got this big ass knife in her hand. So I runs in the bathroom and I lock myself in the bathroom after I get away from her with her. I had some brand new Timbs I had just brought. I just came home. So she couldn't get to me, so she stabbed those up. My mom was around the corner at this time. So I called my mother. I had a cell phone. I called my mother, told her what was going on. I'm assuming she was getting high because of the friends she was with, and she didn't give a damn what was going on. I had a next door neighbor who lived downstairs, lived directly under me. We were yelling at each other so loud you can hear the commotion He's yelling in the hallway to come out and see what's going on, but it took him a while to understand that I couldn't come out. So I actually come out the bathroom once I heard her. I heard her open up a window, which means her back was going to be turned to me. So I jumped over the couch, I grabbed her, and I actually tried to kill my sister for the first time. And I say the first time because, I tried to kill her. I tried to suffocate her with a pillow. And at this time, my mom walks in. And when she walks in, it was just both of them against me pretty much. Because all she see is me have my little sister on the couch with the pillow over her face. Because she still has a knife in her hand. So I got one hand on the pillow and one hand on her wrist. And that was years. And I haven't seen my family in years. So I move away to Cleveland. And I patched things up with my mom. Probably like 2 years later, my daughter passed away, so I came home. Only people knew I was coming home was my mom, my kids' mom, and my sisters. And only reason they knew, the sisters knew, because my mom told me. I don't tell anybody when I'm coming home because there was so much other street stuff going on that I couldn't afford to get caught up in something else when I done moved already 6 hours away. So at this particular point, these two guys, pretty much me and some homies, childhood friends, we sitting outside and these two guys ran up. One car stopped while they was running up. So it was technically three of them. And they tried to rob us. And not just us, it was pretty much me. And I wasn't giving up my stuff. And the two dudes I was with, they wasn't either. And we in our own neighborhood, and it's like, y'all not, you know what I mean? You're not coming in our neighborhood, you're not taking nothing from. That's just the mindset we had. Nevertheless, some shots was fired. One of them people was hit, and I was wrestling with the other guy, and that's how I got shot. So me trying to take it away from, which is stupid if you're listening and watching, don't ever try to do that. But that's what I was on. That's what I tried to do. Hit me in my right buttocks, blew my whole right butt cheek off. That guy, he actually was hit by somebody who was there. He died on the scene. And the guy who got away, it was two who got away. Turns out later, I'm nominated for Best Rapper at the DMV. I'm back in Cleveland for a whole 2 months. I got not one phone call from my mother, from my sister, neither one of my sisters. Nobody in my family called me to check and see if I even made it. Nobody even called to see if I was good. So at this point, I'm like, fuck them. But everybody knows I'm nominated and they know I don't live here anymore. So now I'm getting death threats via Facebook. And I'm reading the threats, and the threats are coming through. And more the threats that sound like a female is threatening, like talking to me, right? So I goes, I'm not about to argue with no woman. I don't argue with men. So because I'm taking it as a joke. I'm laughing. I'm in the house with my homies out in Cleveland. And my homies in Cleveland, they bloods, they gang members. So I've seen a lot. So this here is nothing. I've been threatened before. I've been shot at before, plenty of times before that. So this is nothing. I'm laughing. I'm joking. Now, mind you, nobody knows my family's real name. Like you might know I got two sisters, but you don't know their names. And this particular person was talking like a woman, and I go, I'm not about to argue with no bitch. And they come back and they type me back and say, yeah, I am a bitch, but I'm talking for the nigga that you scared of. And I'm like, I say, if you know me, then you know better than that. Get the fuck off my line. So as I'm about to block them, they text another one and says, well, we're going to kill your sister, and say her name, her whole government name. Nobody who knows me know her whole government name. They barely even know her first name. That was a suspicion to me. So I left it alone. That was just one red flag. I left it alone. Fast forward to 2020 during the COVID. As people know, I played for a go-go band, or I did at the time. And we had this particular gig down in the Aqua. And It's rumors around town that my sister hangs in the neighborhood next to where I live at. And she hangs with her god brother. And this god brother is a little guy who I took under my wing when I was in the streets. And I showed this guy how to sell drugs. I showed him how to talk to people. I put him in a place. And I'm not saying that to say that it was good. I'm just saying this is how close we were. I showed him how to shoot. I showed him how to carry his gun, when and where to carry his gun. I showed him how to hide it in the house because he still lived home. That was her godbrother. Now, I was still associated with him, but not her. So this particular time, I had to stop in that neighborhood. And when I stopped in that neighborhood, they were actually standing in front of the building I had to go into. I don't know how that happened. But prior to this, I was telling my father, like, I feel like she had something to do with it. And he was like, nah, not your sister, not my baby girl. And I'm like, yeah. I told my mother. My mother cussed me out. I told my sister. She didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks at that time. Mind you, they already talked to me for 2 months when the shit happened. So at this point, I'm like, fuck them. I'm cutting them off. So I get out the car, about to go in the building, and I see them out front of the building. And they hides a kite off PCP. My sister is standing up sleep. It's probably 10 degrees outside. I'm running in the building to get something because I was previously there the night before. And as I'm going into the building, he says to her, hey, little bro ain't died. He right here. So I'm just looking like, because I haven't talked to them. I haven't talked to my sister in years at this point. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't say anything. So I go in, I was going to get a jacket. I got my jacket and I come back down the steps. And I notice he's wearing a rest in peace shirt to the guy who got killed on the scene when they robbed me. So I kind of like put two and two together. And I got so mad that I slapped both of them. And he was with some other guys. One of the guys pulled out a gun and he goes, no, that's little bro. He's like, that's big bro right there. We did him dirty and he deserved to be mad. And that's when I knew.
So they pretty much told on themselves.
Yeah. But all the other evidence kind of pointed to her, not him. Not him, but her.
So how did that make you feel? Like, at that moment, just the know that your
almost ain't go to my show. Almost killed both of them right there. That's how I felt.
I believe you too, because that's crazy. That's insane. And then it was almost like divine intervention that you was there, like you know what I'm saying? That you went back to go grab something type thing. Like you could have bypassed that just by like a rush of faith.
This is the scary part. As I get back in the car to drive off, the police is coming up. And the police is coming up, and I have a gun on my hip. They have a gun as well. And then they both sitting there high as hell off PCP. Yeah. And then my phone rings before I even get out the neighborhood. And it's my father calling from jail because he felt like he had a need to check on me that night.
Wow.
Yeah, they let you get your lick back a
That's
little bit anyway before they popped up.
Well, God was definitely on your side that night to, to intervene.
That's crazy.
So you've been, is that the first, that's the only time you've been shot at, or is another time?
I can't count the many times I've been shot at. Oh man. I think I've been shot at almost every year since 97.
Even up until now?
No. I would say up until from probably like 97 up until 2017 maybe.
So why you think why you think all the attention of folks trying to harm you?
Most of it stems from neighborhood abuse.
Okay.
Other stems from Bishop King might want their woman or something like that. A lot of DC dudes they get so angry when their female that they like or they're dealing with, baby mom, whoever, and they are actually listening to certain go-go people, certain rappers, because it's like you can like Jay-Z, but Jay-Z would never meet you, and you would never have a chance with Jay-Z. But this nigga 20 minutes up the street, I don't like that nigga now. Now you can't listen to him. And if they listen to me, then it's like, oh, you fucking him? Oh, you this and you that? And that's where most of these other beefs started from. I have no clue who the women is sometimes. Sometimes I do know them and sometimes I don't.
Now with moving neighborhoods so often and all around the city, like we know how it is just being in the area. Like, did that necessarily make you good wherever you was at, or seem kind of like a op in a sense?
I would say both, because in certain neighborhoods that do have beef with each other, I can actually go into both and kind of squash it. But then you have some that's just like, oh, he from around such and such, because that's what they know. That's where they know me from at that time frame. And for some people, you are nothing but what they knew you from, not what they know you of. So that's just what it is. Like, I remember you used to sell drugs, so you're a drug dealer, in my opinion. So it's just like some people just don't grow up. Some people just don't move on. Some people just stuck in that neighborhood.
Hmm. So we're showing like all of this is reflecting from your traumas, like the behavioral, the streets, the
So
selling drugs, the
when
protecting yourself from the streets.
my so the thing so how can I say this, right? So I'm gonna say my taste in women, right?
Hmm.
My mom was infatuated with thugs, drug dealers, killers, robbers, whoever. My older sister ended up being the same exact way. My younger sister ended up being the same exact way. And I, as 9 years old, I vowed to my mother that I will be those guys just so she can love me. I know you hate me because I look like my father, but I vowed to her that I will become my father. My father was a ruthless guy. He was ruthless. He was a drug dealer. He was a robber. He was a killer. He was a lot of things. So I vowed to my mom, I will become that guy. That put me in a lot of situations. My attitude, I was Teflon Don in my head. Like, that ain't no way to move. Even if you really feel like can't nobody touch you, that's no way to move, because in reality, everybody can be touched. And you have to go through these experiences, though, to learn them. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't please them people. So everything came from my household. The way I went outside, the way I acted. I didn't trust nobody. I didn't trust females ever. Like, I had a daughter, and I didn't trust my own daughter because she
Is
was a
this
female.
because your sister tried to set you up? Did that
Yeah,
straight or just period through the
just
trauma
just
that you went through with
just
women?
remind you again, like I'm the only boy in the house. I'm surrounded by women. Them, their friends, my cousins, everybody are women. I see what they do. I see how they talk. I see if they be plotting on dudes with, like, I see it. Then in my neighborhood, women, they plotting on dudes for their money. They setting dudes up. It's just a lot of stuff I was seeing, and it was just like, damn. But I never hated women though. I never tried to disrespect them either, and I always try to protect them. But at the same time, I just ain't trust them. If that makes sense. But,
It make a lot of sense. It make a lot of sense. I mean, traumas will do that to you. Like it'll cause you to. I know your place. It'll cause you to have some serious trust issues. So
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. I mean, I still don't trust my mother.
I was just about to ask, like, where do things stand today? Has there any progress been made?
Um, Actually, things. I mean, it would be good today, and then bad next week, and then it would be good today, and then bad next week. And it turns out it's only good when one of the other siblings ain't messing with her. And I don't
That's a
talk to
Well,
shame.
them.
Y'all
So
should all be,
me,
at this point.
yeah.
nah, it's
Well, me and you done had a conversation before because you did something as an adult that shocked me with mom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
oh well.
Mm-hmm.
About, you talking about the moving part?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so my mom kicked me out and treated me how she treated me, but when she needed me, I let her move in with me. And I thought I was, again, doing the right thing. I never see my family out in the street like that. It was a domestic situation where I had to intervene at least twice. So it was like no matter what I felt for her or didn't feel for her, I wasn't gonna let nobody else treat her awful, put their hands on her, talk to her in any kind of way. Like I was willing to die for my mother, spend the rest of my life in jail for my mother. So to this day, I'm still the same way. I just have to love her from a distance, but I actually welcomed her to my home, and she found a way to take over that. To the point where my kids was uncomfortable coming to my house. So I had to end that. But once I ended that, and I did it respectfully and I did it nicely, but it was, oh, he might tell the family this and he might tell the family that. So she went like on the world tour of downing me, currying me, talking bad about me to any and everybody that would listen. Even if it didn't make sense, she said it. And it wasn't like it was she was just saying it because that was her truth, but it was, I'm trying to make him look as bad as he can before somebody look at me like that. But my family know her. They know who she is. They knew her before we did. So
I was just about to say, at this point, are we still believing? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but
Like we still
but you know
falling in
what? My
line?
sisters, um, it's like they can talk to me about it. But if my let's say you guys my sisters, right? And I say, man, mom was tripping. She cussed me out for no reason. Yep, that's your mother. But then 3 days later, it's like whatever she say, I did that shit. And that's just how they carry it. And they go around telling people, oh, that nigga crazy or this and that. Because it has a track record. I had an attitude problem. They've seen me in action before. You know what I mean? Like my uncles, I didn't put hands on my uncles before. Like they seen me in action. So they know it's not far-fetched, the story. But whether it's truth or not, I put myself in that position to make it believable by acting the way I acted.
You've been through a lot of traumas from adulthood to childhood because you took the abuse from your mom as a child, then you moved her and you still going through verbal abuse. How are you the way you are now? Like, how are you? Where's your mental state of mind? Because I do sometimes see you go back and forth, and it's almost like sometimes you let people get to you. Like, it's you gotta kind of say something to them.
Yes, if so it became a point where all this neighborhood beef stuff, it's like, how can I, as a grown man, lay my head down peacefully at night and I allow somebody to disrespect me, right? So that became a normal thing for me. Like, if you say anything out the way, I'm gonna let you know that when I see you, it's gonna definitely be a problem. One of us gotta go. Like that's how I'm thinking. So that's not a good way to think, and I know that. But at the same time, I ain't care because you're not going to disrespect me. You're not even going to try to even play with me. Like slick comments and because I don't do it. So I'm not about to allow you to do it. Not to me. You can do this to anybody else you want to, but not to me. Don't threaten me because if you threaten me, that'll be a never ending story. I don't care if you apologize. In my head, in your heart, you wanted to hurt me. So all bets are off. Like I'd rather ask God for forgiveness than be a dummy.
It definitely, you've adapted the way that you need to adapt to, survive. But it's definitely, walls up there. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
no, give no no chances, no tries.
Mm-hmm.
They will not get one over on you. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's not the way that it should be, but I wish that it would come more naturally
Yeah, but then I
than
got I
having to
got my
go through
father
stuff
in my
like
ear
that.
though, like my entire life. Don't do that. You never
Hmm.
allow this and never be this way. And it's just like that's just it became like a code. Then you out here in the streets too. So now you're in the jungle. You can be the softest guy you want to at home, but once you get on these concrete jungles, you have to you have to live up to what's going on around you. You have to adapt to it. And being a teddy bear, I mean, you just get put back in the box.
Mm-hmm. Your parents must have went through a lot of traumas when they were younger too. I
So
mean, did you know? Like it
My
has
my
to be like
my father told me one time. He says, in order to get to know your mom and know why she is the way she is, you have to learn her. I didn't know what that meant at first. I'm like, I know that's my mother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know her. She messed up and I don't like it. And he like, nah, like, figure out why she's this way. What happened? What didn't happen? What she's looking for? What she's trying to do? This, that, and the third. And it just turns out as I did that, I got a song and I was probably about 36. And in the song, I said, I grew up in the same house, but I never knew my mother. That's when I learned my mother. Like, she didn't know what love was. She thought if she had kids, she put a roof over your head. That was love. She thought because she brung you into this world, that's all she needed to do. You here now. It's on you. Like, she don't know what love is. She never was taught love. And then I learned my grandmother. My grandmother got 5 kids. Don't know none of the baby daddies. She was a party girl. She would leave her kids in the house from the time they able to walk, and the next kid, the kid that was older than them, had to babysit. And she had 5 kids. So at this time, it's just like she's leaving her kids in the house by themselves while she go drinking and she go drugging. And at the same time that she did that, each one of her kids, including my mom, around the same age, did the same thing she was doing. And then it trickled down to my little sister, who actually became my mom at this point. Not per se my mom, but that's who she is the same person that my mom is. At the same age, my mom started to turn on us like that. So it was crazy.
So is there a way that you can accept your mom? Like you know how she is. Like once you know that trauma and you know that they are like traumatized, because it sounds like your mom is still traumatized. She never really overcame it. Like, do you forgive her? Like, where's your heart at with her?
I felt like I forgave her too much already. I love her. I want what's best for her. I would never accept the disrespect and never accept anything for any reason, and definitely not because you was traumatized as a kid, because I didn't ask to be here. You put me here. And as a mom, as a dad, whoever, it's your duty to overcome whatever it is. And if you can't, that kid ain't got nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would never, you know what I'm saying, accept my mom for her being her. No, I would accept her for being my mom. Her and my sister got into it one day, and it plays in my head every time me and her get into it, but I would never say it. And I used to tell my sister, like, don't ever talk to your mother like that. And they would look at me like, I know you ain't talking. Like, all the stuff she say to you. And I'm like, but you never hear me go back like that. And my sister said, well, that's not my mother. That's just the bitch who had me.
Ooh.
And that stuck with me. And then she started to tell my mother that. And I noticed when she told my mother that, it damn near killed her. Like, just those words alone damn near killed her. But I would never.
Everybody was traumatized.
It's a cycle. If I'm traumatized and I'm teaching my sons to hate women, or I'm teaching my sons don't trust women, what they gonna do? They're gonna listen to me because I know best. That's what they thinking, and then they're gonna teach their kids that.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
But what it definitely looks like, you have done your own kind of journey of healing here. You are in a better place mentally. But where do you feel like you still fall short, or like you still have some work to do?
Yeah, and can I add to Sid's question real quick?
Hmm?
What and what's your mental state of mind right now? Like mentally, where are you at? It's tied to that.
Mentally, I don't even know where to put it. I won't say I'm depressed. I won't say um it's like I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not depressed, but then I mean I feel like everybody is depressed in some shape or form. I won't say I'm completely over anything, because I'm not. I still hold a grudge to this day. Like, with any and everybody who ever did something to me, I hold a grudge. Like, that just became part of my DNA. That's something I can't shake. And a lot of people say in order to get forgiven or this, that, and the third, I have to forgive and I have to move on, or it's going to slow me up. I don't feel like it slowed me up for me to have a grudge against somebody. I might not want to do nothing to you, but I don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? So it's not stopping my progress for what I'm trying to do or what else I'm doing. But if I hold grudges, I still hold grudges from childhood stuff that happened with my mom. As clearly, I haven't spoken to my sister in years. Um, I mean, somebody snitched on me in 8th grade. I won't talk to him ever. I mean, you know what I mean? So I just seen him recently, and I wanted. I mean, honestly, I wanted to kill him then. And I mean, this was 8th grade. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? Like, so it's. I became my mindset has always been stuck like on homicide. Like, I felt like you got to get rid of the problem, which is fucked up. But I don't. That's why I don't play certain games with people because I know where my mind is going to go, and that's not good. And can you imagine, like, you get into an altercation and the first thing you think about is homicide, but you still got to teach your sons that's not the way. So now you got to move by example. So I try to move with honor. I try to respect everybody. I don't fear nobody, but I try to respect every being I come across, whether they're a kid, whether they're a teenager, whether they're an adult, whether they're an elderly person. It don't even matter, man or woman. I'm going to try to respect you the best I can because I don't want no smoke. I don't want no problems because I know where my mind is going to go. I go from 0 to a million fast, and mess with something that I love. I'm not even going to think twice about. So I love hobby, and it's again, I try to love my mother that way. So I noticed the way I try to love my mother is how I love my friends. I love the people who love me, and that's just how I always been.
You ever think about have you been to therapy? Do you ever think about going to therapy?
Now I go to the studio for that.
But that's not therapy.
Yes, for me it is, because
Mm.
why would I go pay somebody else to listen to my story when I can get paid for telling my story?
I mean, yeah, but what about the healing piece of that letting go and releasing piece of it? Because a lot of people don't hurt you, so I know your place because I've been at your place before. But accepting everything about it, it's like you still have a like that
I think I feel like that because in this society that we live in our community, a black man really don't have a place for healing. A black man don't have a place to fail. He don't have a time to do none of that. Like, you're supposed to be a superhero to the black community.
I disagree with you though. I think every man should have a
No, I
feeling.
didn't. I didn't say they shouldn't.
No, I'm
I'm
just
just
saying
saying.
that's how they look at it. But I'm saying personally for me, I think a man should be able to cry. A man should have an emotion, a feeling, to connect with those inner emotions and the feelings. Because a lot of men that go through traumas won't even cry. They hold that like I don't want no one to see this because of that.
I don't even cry at funerals. It's hard. Like, I can feel it, but one night come out.
Hopefully one day God will let you cry because you're gonna release so much. You're gonna release so much. It's gonna be a big release.
So it's just I wouldn't. I say my this thing about my mental state. I always felt like I was on the island alone. You know what I mean? Like, every day, no matter what happens, I'm alone. I don't care if it's 100 people in the room. I still feel alone. I feel by myself. I walk in the club with 30 guys. I feel like I walked in by myself because in my eyes, all I got is myself, and the only person that I can trust in this room is myself. No matter what I did for you, what I will do for you, and what I've done for you, I feel like you would never do that for me. You would never even attempt to do it for me because everybody that's been around me, anybody that I ever loved, told I loved, anybody I ever trusted, did me dirty.
Well, you got two lovable people on the screen right now, so we ain't gonna do you like that.
Appreciate
Okay, I'm gonna let you chime in because I know you got. I know you. We almost there, but I know you have something. I know you got something to say. Like,
No, actually, I was just listening, but you know, it's great actually that even though you know that you might in the heat of the moment do the wrong thing, that you understand that, and that's not what you're teaching your kids. So I think it's a success where you at right now because you could just be like, whatever, this is what I know has always worked, like this is how I'm gonna teach my kids. But
That's the
uh,
thing. It ain't always work.
it ain't. No, it has not. I agree.
You gotta. I'm not no fool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I know what I can do and what I shouldn't do. And I know what can happen if I do it. I always tell my sons, like, everything you do, you're either gonna get an award or a consequence behind it. I don't want the consequences to come behind it. Can I live with it? I'm gonna live with everything I do. I can stand on it. But can my sons live with it? Can the people who are around me, because I go out here and kill somebody from another neighborhood, first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna come looking for me, and they can't. They're gonna go looking for somebody who be with me. So now I'm putting them in danger. You know what I mean? So I have to think for other people as well. So I know that. I'm just saying in general, I stay away from things because I know where my mind is going to go.
Mm, absolutely. Well, it's still a win. From where it used to be,
Yeah.
it's definitely still a win.
Yeah, because you acknowledge it. That's the good part about it. Like you know that your traumas have put you here, but you still can tell others is wrong. Like I've been through this. This is how I am. You shouldn't be like this because man, you've been
You
through a
know,
lot. We've had a conversation. It
yeah,
all didn't come out here, but you've been through a lot. So
part of the reason I feel bad too because I'm Muslim, and all the stuff I've done, all the stuff I think and feel, remember I said I was the only thing I was afraid of is dying. I can't control that, so I'm afraid of it.
wow, at least you're afraid of something. I mean,
Um,
you would think that
but I don't know where I'm going when I die.
mm,
Some like a pastor told me at my uncle's funeral yesterday that if you don't know where you're going when you die, that you don't have a relationship with God. And I feel like God has been punishing me all these years. Now he owe me. And it sounds crazy when I say that, when I hear myself say it. But I feel like I've been punished so much that the stuff that I do that probably wasn't warranted should be overlooked. And the stuff that I did do, I feel like I had a reason to do it.
wow.
I understand. I was thinking that when you said, you seen your sister and oh boy, you put two and two together. To me, that was just like it literally was like, the Lord allowing you to get your lick, the little bit of a lick you could have got and got and
Yeah.
got away unscathed. Like he let you
When I
do that.
when I tell you, I feel like God is the only person that got me. I feel like God is the only person that's the reason I'm still here today. I still feel like what? Why did I go through all of that punishment for what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you could ask me that too. I think that we are examples and testimonies to help other people go through the situations that they go that they're going through. Right, our life experience may help someone else. We stop the generational curses. We do things differently. We've been through those traumas, so we can express to people and show people. I went through this life experience, but let me tell you my life experience so it can help you. So we're warriors, right? We have fought the war. So we're still on ground. We're still here for a purpose. And you're here for a purpose so someone can see all of the things that you went through childhood. You couldn't even have a connection with your mother because she couldn't have a connection with her mother. So she was abused. So she abused you. It's that cycle. But look at you with your kids telling your son and your daughter, don't be like this. It's not right. You either get a reward or you get consequences. Usually that cycle continues. It affects the next person and the next person. So it sounds like you are doing good things and you putting a stop so that your kids can be a better
Yeah,
person.
not just my kids though. I talk to people my age. I talk to younger dudes in the city, Maryland. I don't care where you at. If I hear you say something wild, if I'm in the store, I might start preaching. That's how I got the name Bishop. I might start preaching to you about something. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I felt like it was people that was there that
Mhm.
could have stopped what I was going through, and they did nothing. So I asked God, like, well, what would happen to them?
But were they mentally stable to do anything?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
but these are a lot of these people had traumas and issues
Yeah,
too. And
but
those
as a kid,
people.
as a kid, I'm thinking they're adults. I mean, you know better than me. You know what I mean? As a kid, I'm thinking that like, what I shouldn't be having to worry about your mental state. If you see, you know what I mean? I could be depressed, ready to die right now. If I see a little kid getting abused, I'm jumping in there.
But the thing is, do you understand their mental states now? Like, do you? I
Oh,
mean,
now,
like now you understand it,
yeah, I
right?
mean, now, yeah, I found, hell, they kids was going through the same thing I was going through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we are at the time where if you have anything going on, projects, upcoming projects, things you got for sale, how people can get in touch with you if they were moved by tonight's conversation, go ahead and speak your piece and get your shameless plug on.
Look, we were so into this, I ain't even run the Lord Jesus,
It's
forgive me.
all right. We running it now. We running it now.
We were into this. Like I didn't even hit a button.
Yeah, I would say this though, for whoever is watching, whoever is listening, it is okay for you to speak your piece, speak your truth, whether somebody agree with you or not, it's still your side. Always get your side out, even if you're just talking to the pray and talk about it. If you just say it out loud, get it out. Make sure you're feeling okay with yourself first before you even start thinking about talking to somebody else, because it starts with yourself. It might not seem like it's easy, but once you get into the flow of things, you're going, like she said, you're going through it for a reason. Once you get on top, you'll look back and you'll see that reason, and you'll start to respect a little bit more, and just move with honor, move with respect. Again, my name is Bishop King. You can find me on all your social media platforms at I am Bishop King underscore PBG. That's I am Bishop King underscore PBG. I am the CEO of PBG Entertainment, which is Paperboy Gang Entertainment. I got a book coming out soon. It's called Broken Blood, and it pretty much outlines most of the stuff that we talked about. It just gets in more detail. Um, Other than that, you can go on YouTube, Bishop King DC on YouTube. You can get I got a life story right now and out on there. It's a documentary called FaceTime, the Bishop King story. And it's about 40 minutes. So when you ain't got nothing to do, go check it out.
And also, you have a couple albums out. I mean, can you
Yeah, I
tell me?
got about nine. I got about nine albums out, but right now all music streaming on every music outlet that you can think of, from Apple to Spotify to YouTube Stories, IG Stories. Bishop King music is actually in 46 countries right now. I'm proud of that, and also to let a lot of people know, like, you can go through what I went through. I've never did time in jail. I did 26 hours. So I'm proud of that. A lot of people brag about going to prison. Well, I'm gonna brag about not going to prison. I'm still alive, so I still got something to say. So keep pushing, keep grinding. Never think it's the end. I never thought it was the end. I always had hope, and sometimes having hope do make you feel like you hopeless at the end of the day because you feel like you're stabbing yourself. But man, keep grinding, keep fighting, because them kids looking up to you. Somebody always watching you. I know everybody got a social media page, and they always say how I get this many views and less likes, because somebody is always watching you. So keep pushing. But everything is out. Bishop King, everything.
Bishop, I want to thank you because I was going to ask you to give a positive word, and you already have done that. So, all my DC, DMV folks, DC, Maryland, Virginia, come support Bishop, download his music. You know, it's always we should give love from where we from. So please come out and support Bishop. If you were tuning in, what we just showed you was how Bishop went through childhood traumas, and he went through childhood traumas from childhood into adulthood, and he has acknowledged that it still affects him and that he's coping and he's going through stuff, but he's also for the youth and giving back to the youth to, keep them out of trouble. So childhood traumas really affect you. So we are bringing life experiences to help others going through similar situations. And for the parents that are watching too, be mindful of what we are doing to our kids. Even I've had my childhood traumas, which I have played, but I had to acknowledge them going into adulthood, because if you don't face these childhood traumas and acknowledge them, they will taunt you for the rest of your life. So, Bishop, thank you for stepping up and giving a different perspective. And you keep healing my brother and doing good things in the community. And as I said, go out and support him, download his music, follow him on his social media platforms and YouTube. And thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken. We're going to keep giving it to you. Our mission is to share as many life experiences as we can. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Sid. And y'all have a blessed day.